Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the result con call of Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers and Chemicals Limited, organized by Batliwala and Karani Securities India Private Limited. At this moment, all participant lines are in listen-only mode. Later, we will conduct a question and answer session. At that time, if you have a question, please press star 1. Please note that this conference is recorded. I will now like to turn the conference over to Mr. Ranjit Sirumala. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mayuri. Good afternoon, everyone. We thank the management of Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers and Chemical Company for giving us this opportunity to host their Q2 FY22 earnings con call. We have with us Mr. Divi Parikh, Manager and Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Y.N. Patel, Development, O&M, Mr. A.C. Shah, General Manager and Company Secretary. I would now hand over the proceedings to Mr. A.C. Shah, who will open with an opening remarks and then would request Mr. Divi Parikh to also kind of give an overview on the performance, post which we'll take a Q&A session. Thank you, and over to Mr. A.C. Shah.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome to all investors on this con call meet this afternoon. And here with me, the management team, Mr. Divi Parikh, our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Y.N. Patel, O&M in charge, then Mr. Jiten Bhai Desai, he is Industrial Products Marketing in charge, and with him Mr. M.M. Upadhyay, Manish Upadhyay is there, who is also looking after the Industrial Products Marketing. So friends, in fact, we just wanted to mention that this time our finance department has made special efforts and uploaded the financials of the company PowerPoint presentation on company's website as well as on the websites of NSE and BSE. So with this, let us try to make our discussion very meaningful and look forward to have your cooperation for the same. I now request Mr. Divi Parikh to take over, please. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, A.C. Good afternoon, everybody, to this quarter 2 conference call, earnings call of company GNFC. Like mentioned, we have a team from operations, finance, and marketing. They'll pick up the question respectively for the specific response. Now, as desired by both retail as well as institutional investor last time, we also uploaded the presentation apart from the financials, which is available both on the exchange as well as our website. I'll start this discussion with the overall economic scenario affecting the industry relating to our business. We'll start first with the fertilizer. Actually, the fertilizer industry has lower volume this time by around 7%. Main products which are affected are DAP and MOP respectively. Within this 7%, DAP is at 22% negative and MOP is at 13% negative. While the volumes have been lower, the revenues have gone up because of the higher subsidies, both because of the government intervention as well as increase in the gas prices, which is resulting into the urea revenue going up. Predominantly, it is in the nature of subsidy. While talking about the inputs across the board, all 4 major inputs, basically ammonia, DAP, phosphoric acid, and rock phosphate, they all gone up by 200%, 90%, 85%, and 45% respectively. So as a result, there has been a special intervention by government somewhere around mid-May, which was valid till the Kharif season, and around end September they also announced the continuity of the nutrient-based subsidy into Rabi season as well. So companies will get some respite as against the spiraling cost which is there for all the inputs practically. Even the gas pool price has also gone up by 65% over the last 1 year. This is resulting into more working capital lockup across the companies. We are also not an exception to that. So this is what is happening to the fertilizer industry as such. Coming to chemicals, there is actually buoyancy as far as industrial product chemicals are concerned. Our imports have also risen, which shows that the overall demand is good, which is met by both the sources, domestic as well as import. If you look at our products like formic acid, TDI, acetic acid, AN melt, everywhere the import has gone up substantially. Led by formic acid, followed by TDI, and thereafter AN melt and acetic acid. So this is what is happening. So downstream sector has really opened up in the second quarter. Even H1 also is fairly good as far as chemical industry is concerned. The other part is all the inputs, feedstock and fuel, mainly coal, gas and oil, they have increased substantially. It is ranging from like 7% to 22%. There has been an increase. And this is an average we are talking, whereas if we look at the tail enders months, which are the last couple of months, the increase is really very, very sharp. So the scenario has been good because the company and in general chemical industry has been in a position to pass on the increased cost to the customer, and overall margins are therefore maintained. As far as now touching upon the companies of operating and financial performance, on the operations side, the periods while we talk about H1 is really comparable, whereas Q2 versus Q1 is not comparable because of the shutdown we had, and we lost around a couple of weeks in that. So Q2 versus Q2 is comparable, H1 versus H1 is really comparable, and plants more or less, except barring for a product like methanol, they ran at full capacity, more than full capacity. So in terms of operation, there are no disturbances as such during this quarter, and barring for the annual shutdown in H1. As far as marketing side is concerned, there is a substantial decrease in the stock which has happened, and we have been in a position to push up the inventory into the market. Like if you see the financials, there is a figure of 106 crores which has reduced because of the lower inventories. Inventories have been pushed down in the market. This also has been the quarter where TDI sales has been, domestic sales has been the highest, overall sales also is the highest. The total TDI sales is around 19,525 metric ton, which is the highest in a quarter. Apart from that, we have very good realization in a few products. Although in certain products like acetic acid, aniline and ethyl acetate, the realizations have gone down to some extent. However, the overall profitability is maintained because there was a good volume during the quarter. Now coming to financials, you must have seen the media release as well. This is a quarter with certain highest ever tags in it. The revenue from operations both for the quarter 2 as well as H1 is the highest ever. Within that, even the chemical revenue is also the highest ever. The revenue for the quarter stands at around 2,400 crore, and for the H1 it is at 3,500 crore. And at a PBT level, it stands at 417 and 782 crores. In terms of EBITDA margin, it has increased to 21% from 16% on YOY Q2 basis. Even while we compare the entire last year, there is somewhat increase in the EBITDA margins. As far as the outlook and capex part is concerned, my colleagues will respond to the specific question about both marketing outlook as well as the capital expenditure part. Now coming down to the balance sheet, there is a net worth of 6,500 crore. We have a healthy balance sheet with around 2,350 crore of cash sitting in it. In terms of the cash flow, if we compare H1 to H1, around 700 crore cash flow has happened both last year as well as this year. However, this year the cash flow is predominantly driven by the operating profits. Last year it was driven by more liquidity because of the liquidation of subsidy receivables. So that is from our side. Now we leave the floor open, and I will hand over the session back to Mr. Ranjit Shirumala from BNK. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Shall I open? Shall I open the floor?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a few seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star 1 on your phone and await your turn to ask the question when guided by me. If your question has been answered before your turn and you wish to withdraw your request, you may do so by pressing star 1 again. We have first question from the line of Mr. Pawan Nahar as an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And I once again want to convey my thanks to the management for sharing the spreads and the presentation this time. Now I just hope we as investors can make most of the next 1 hour. My first question is to Jiten Bhai. What do you think? I mean, I look at the last 6-7 years average, that data that is given on spreads, it seems that TDI is pretty much within the band. The average seems 130,000 rupees, and we are 105,000 rupees for the first half. And acetic acid seems to be significantly higher than the band. If you can just throw some insights into it. Of course, I understand it is difficult, but your insights, what is the new normal? Because we've always said that the new normal is going to be higher than the previous normal. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Pawan.
Yes.
This TDI is particularly find applications in flexible polyurethane, which in turn finds application in comfort products like mattresses, furniture. For any economical distress due to pandemic or any other reason, the first to be hit is the demand of such comfort products. That is why, though the situation is good, the TDI demand is not supporting the price increase like what it has supported, demand has supported in other products. Compared to import cost, as per the spread is concerned, the TDI price should be much higher than what is prevailing. That is about TDI, but the demand has started increasing in India. The demand has remained very good, as Parikh Sahab has told, that we have achieved the ever highest quarterly domestic sale of TDI in Q2. So in India, the demand is good, but the price of TDI depends on international demand, because TDI is one product which is used in every country actually, because the product manufactured from TDI is a voluminous. So where it is used, it has to be manufactured there. So demand should increase overall globally, then it will boost the price. But now, as per the latest reports, the demand has started increasing in Southeast Asia and in other parts of Asia also. Middle East and Africa, the demand is good like India. Europe was little bit down, but there the season is coming, high season is coming now. So we expect the demand should increase. So in overall, the picture of TDI in going forward should be good, should be conducive. And acetic acid, you have already observed that it is a good demand as well as good pricing we are getting nowadays.
Any outlook on acetic acid, Jiten Bhai? What do you think? Do you think it can sustain for some time, or it comes down?
The prices we observed in last 6 months are at very high level.
Sure.
And the new normal obviously should be lower than that.
Sure.
But it will not go, even I think what was previous normal, it will remain quite higher than that level. So the current price has gone very high, so it will stabilize somewhere in between the new normal and the current price.
So between So between 40,000 to 90,000 rupees a ton, somewhere between that is where you think. But I'm more interested in the spread, Jiten Bhai. I mean, because it's been more like 20,000 rupees, the difference between the price and the feedstock, and right now it is 60. So
yeah.
So
you are right.
any sense, like, what do you think? Like, it's pretty clear that TDI, the outlook on spreads may be better. Of course, acetic acid can come down. But what do you think would be the normal?
New normal will be anything between 65, around 60 plus minus 5.
Okay. The price or the spread, you mean?
Yeah, price
You mean
that
the
depends
price?
actually. The input
Okay.
cost has also increased substantially in last 3 months, last 2 months rather.
That's why I was just focusing on the spread because, both will keep moving. So just
Yes,
the spread
yes.
number. So 65 as a spread you are saying, or sorry, you meant?
No. 65,000 rupees per metric ton, the price in India,
Okay.
plus minus
At this
5.
current,
That will be the
okay.
new normal, but that will happen over a period of time. Right now it is at very high level.
Yes.
But market
Okay.
will take correction that way, in that direction, sooner or later.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, Mr. Nahar. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask any more questions, please press star 1 and get in the queue. We have next question from the line of Mr. Govind Dalal as an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, GNFC team, and congratulations for the good set of numbers in tough conditions. So I got only one question, sir. Quarter on quarter sequentially, our revenue has gone up almost 50%, but PBT level it has gone up only 16%. So what was the impact? Is it because of raw material prices have gone up, and how we are seeing third quarter shaping up? That's all, sir. Thank you.
Okay. See, quarter one, like we mentioned earlier, because of the shutdown, the quantities available were less. Apart from the bullish scenario, the availability was also less, so we had a better pricing. So, like as you compare sequentially between Q1 to Q2, there is some price erosion in 3 products mainly: acetic, ethyl, and aniline. Apart from that, the input cost has gone up substantially, which has caused the margin to be on a lower side. But that is made up by the higher volume.
So how is current?
The key inputs which we use, like 4-5 inputs we use, they have all gone up substantially, which is gas, oil, rock phosphate, toluene, and benzene. So these have gone up in the last, and they are also currently going up. Although pricing is taking care, but then both at times play a catch-up game, and it will be the end result of how far the spreads are maintained.
So, net, can you quantify, sir, total raw material basket quarter 1 versus 2, how much it has gone up, and further October, how much it has gone up, and what is scenario, sir, third quarter overall net regarding raw material prices?
See, projecting prices is difficult, but if you ask for Q2, around 100 crore is because attributable, little over 100 crore is attributable to input price increases. And there is a price erosion which is to the tune of around 97 crores, which has happened in Q2 as compared to Q1. So both have contributed. Otherwise, with the increase of around 700 crore of more turnover, it would have contributed even better.
Followed, sir. That is very helpful. So how now current October is shaping up net, and how total third quarter we can look, sir, on margin side or realization, raw material side, overall picture can you just give us, sir?
Okay. See, it is not right to talk about the current quarter. So we stay away from commenting on the quarter. Okay.
Okay, sir. Followed, sir. So longer term, how we are seeing those raw material prices have peaked out, or you see that?
No, they have not weakened out. See, if you look at like even the current prices of oil, gas, they are very high. But then there are news that it will taper off somewhere around November, mid-November and November. But difficult to predict the trend in this, both input as well as outputs. we have been in a position to successfully price the product and maintain certain spreads. This is how this 417 crore has is the result of that. There is no one-timer in this. There is no significant one-timer in this operational performance. It is a pure operational performance for Q2.
No, that is agreed, sir. So, no, versus let us say September or last quarter, second quarter, how October is shaping up and raw material prices still they have gone up, sir, comparing last quarter, they are at higher levels comparing, or they are at, we can say that average prices of last quarter, or?
These are the information which are normally available in public domain. Since being a price-sensitive information, we would like to avoid responding on the current quarter, any of the month.
Follow. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dalal. Participants who wish to ask questions, please press star 1 on your phone. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask any more questions, please press star 1 on your phone now. We have next question from the line of Mr. Vishal Patel as an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Congratulations to the management for your best ever performance in H1 in the history of the company. I just wanted to have a question for Mr. Jiten. As TDI will be the product for the domestic consumption related to the plastics and other things. Each company facing any competition from the international market to raise the price, or if so, then you are being the only one player. Can you apply for the anti-dumping duty or some protective measures to the government of India? Thank you.
There is no response from the management line. Your voice is not audible, sir.
Yeah, I can repeat it again. Yeah. Can I audible?
One moment, Mr. Patel, be online.
Yeah, Mr. Vishal.
Yeah. Should I repeat the question, sir?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations to the management for the best ever performance in H1 in the history of the company. My question is related to the TDI pricing power. As you have told that it is more or depend on the international prices. So, being an only Indian player, is it affecting any challenges to raise the prices to the more cost-effective level? As being only player, you might apply to the government protective measures like anti-dumping duty or something like that.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Vishal. Though we are the only producer of TDI in India, for any products, TDI or any other products, we are open to the globe and competition can come from anywhere. So we have to compete, we have to regulate our price as per the import parity.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Participants who wish to ask any questions, please press star 1 on your phone. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask any more questions, please press star 1 on your phone. We have next question from the line of Mr. Ashish Agarwal as an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah. So basically my question is on the debottlenecking slide which you have on your presentation. I can see there the 3 products, TDI, acetic acid and one another product. So on TDI, if the debottlenecking is there for 16 metric tons, right, then I think the additional margin which we can earn from that per quarter would be around 40 crores with the current spreads. Is that right? And will that start coming from Q3 onwards?
It is actually mechanical. We have mentioned mechanical completion is already over. and it is expected that the production will get enhanced effective November end. It is already on a trial. There is some enhanced production already coming, but the stabilization will take some time. So by end November, there will be an enhanced production, and what you are seeing, the 40 crore which you are quantifying, is not the right way of looking at it. It is just a spread between the final product and the key feed. There are other costs also attached to it, okay? So
Right.
that way we can't conclude that it's a 40 crore per quarter will be earning because of this debottlenecking. It's a spread between toluene to TDI.
Okay. Right. Got it. Yeah, but then the additional margin would start coming practically from December onwards, is what you are trying to say.
November and yes,
Expected.
And we will be able to take, so there will not be any demand supply mismatch with this quantity coming in.
No,
in the
will be.
domestic market.
See, domestic market is already there.
Right.
Okay. And see, the incremental production is going to be in the range of like 12 to 16,000, so which anyway can be absorbed.
Okay. And can you also explain the other two debottlenecking things which we have done as a company? The other 2 points which is mentioned in the slide, and how will it
In
benefit
fact,
and when it will come to slide?
debottlenecking plus the brownfield. Okay.
Right.
Like there are four. One is like 4 megawatt solar. Company has already implemented 10 megawatt solar effective November last. Okay. And other two are basically the brownfield project, which is CNA4 and formic acid 2. So these are the brownfield project. These are not the debottlenecking. TDI was a reliability related capex, which is debottlenecking the end part of the product. And since upstream was meeting the requirements of the enhanced production, we'll get the enhanced production of around 30 metric ton per day additionally.
Okay. Okay. One follow-up question, sir. We are cash rich, and that's there in our balance sheet. How do we invest these funds to get better earnings out of it?
See, we are in the we have mentioned in the presentation that around 400 crore is already committed. Another 1200 crore is also committed. People are working on it for the capex. And for the rest of the capex, we have a business strategy team person also here. He will tell about what future projects we are thinking and on which lines. We have Mr. Vayan Patel here who will respond on that. Apart from the 1600 crore which we have mentioned in the presentation.
See, regarding new projects, we have already planning for increasing our top line from 6,000 to 12,000 crore, which will be spread over 4 to 5 years. So we are already working on increasing capacity of acetic acid, then ethyl acetate, and we are also thinking of some new projects like polycarbonate and others. We are also working on enhancing capacity of our aniline plant as well. So these are the projects, and we are also looking for some new line of chemicals. So we are actively thinking on it, and we are determined to increase our top line from 6,000 to around 10 to 12,000 crore.
Okay, great, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. Next in queue, Mr. Nishit Shah from Equitas Investment. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir, and congratulations on good set of numbers. Sir, my question is specific for nitric acid. So for Q2, how was the demand, and if you can give realization number and how, so any outlook for the nitric acid business going forward?
Good afternoon, Mr. Shah. The nitric acid demand remained good in Q2, and the prices we are able to pass on the input cost increase because it is basically the ammonia. nitric acid's main input is ammonia, and ammonia price, it is in the public domain, also has gone up substantially. But fortunately, with the good demand support, we are able to pass on that in the market.
Outlook.
As far as outlook is concerned, yes, nitric acid is a ever-growing product actually. The downstream units are expanding leap and bound. So we see that there is good demand of nitric acid going forward also. In fact, concentrated nitric acid, which is 98%, cannot be importable. So as soon as the domestic production increase, the downstream units can come up.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Next in queue, Mr. Nirav Jimudia from Anvil Research. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Sir, my question is particularly to the methanol. So we require methanol for our acetic acid production. So you can help us explain what's our annual requirement of methanol, and we also produce some quantities of methanol in our plant. So is that on a natural gas based, or do we produce methanol through some other route? So that was the first question, sir.
Okay, methanol we produce through two routes. The feedstock for methanol is both NG as well as oil. We have three facilities for methanol. One is driven by NG predominantly, and two are oil based. The total capacity of methanol is around 800 metric ton if we go full steam on that. And when we use
metric ton per day.
When we use in acetic acid, we manufacture acetic acid in the range of 155,000 to 165,000, and the specific consumption is almost 0.535. So half is the requirement, around 55% is the requirement of captive methanol for acetic acid.
Okay. So generally we produce entire requirement of our acetic acid internally itself through this NG as well.
By and large, yes, except for the very expensive gas price, because the capacity of within this 800 metric ton per day, the capacity of gas is more as compared to oil. So if the gas price is significantly higher like currently it is, we do a mix of both purchase as well as captive production from oil route. This is what we are doing currently.
And sir, if you can mention the current utilization for the gas-based as well as two oil-based plants, that would be helpful, sir.
See, right now we are producing from oil only because of higher NG price. We have stopped our NG-based facility right now.
Okay. But suffices to assume that everything for our acetic acid is suffice or is produced through our own internal route only, and we do not purchase methanol from outside.
No, we have enough capacity, but based on pricing, we are
we play
maneuvering. Yes.
Like currently, if you see the gas-based production cost is very high, so buying from the market is more economical. Apart from producing from oil route, which is relatively cheaper as compared to gas. And since we have certain captive requirement for acetic acid, apart from that we have certain mid-term contract which we have to honor. So for both, the total methanol requirement is met through these two sources, which is bought out methanol as well as in-house produced methanol.
Okay. And sir, regarding the availability of methanol from the outside market, do we face challenges in terms of the imported material, because it is connected to our acetic acid production? So is there any availability issue or mismatch in terms of we getting methanol and then we produce acetic acid?
No, there is no issue because 20 lakh ton is being imported so far every year. Every year almost 20-21 lakhs is being imported. And Indian manufacturers probably only GNFC is manufacturing at the moment. No other companies are able to manufacture. But it is sufficient quantities available in market.
Okay, got it, sir. So my second question is in terms of any shutdowns we have taken for any of our plant in Q2
No.
Not in Q2.
Okay. And any timelines for any of the plants which are going for shutdown in H2?
No.
Current year we have no plan for any further shutdown, because normally we take shutdown once in a year. That is for preventive maintenance.
Correct. Okay. So last question would be our pricing contract. So can you explain us in terms of our pricing contracts, like do we enter monthly contracts, or have we changed our contract terms to now changing our prices to the international pricing as and when they are changed?
Are you asking for inputs or for the output?
No. I am asking from the point of view of, because the international pricing have been changing quite frequently, if we see, because of the China issues and the dual control policy. So do we change the prices here to on a frequently basis as per the international prices, or we try to charge the customers, or the contracts are being entered on a monthly basis? I'm specifically asking from the pricing point of view.
No, for most of our sales, we regulate the price as per the import parity.
Okay.
There are no fixed price contract in most of the cases.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for answering the questions in detail, and festival wishes to the entire team.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you, Mr. Jimudia. Next, we have in queue Mr. Nagendra Moria from Growth X Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity and the great set of numbers. Sir, just a basic question on the power cost side. If we see quarter-on-quarter basis, it is basically gone up by 48% on absolute basis. But if we compare with the revenue, that it is more or less similar, almost 13 to 14 odd percent. So I just wanted to know that how much power cost is in the chemical segment and how much cost gone in the fertilizer segment. If you could provide the breakup of these two for these two first for Q1 and Q2.
Your question, cost?
Yeah, power cost.
Used for chemicals and used for fertilizers. Okay. These are actually the detailing of the segment. So you may send your query and we'll give you the exact set of number on an element-wise basis, because we have a mix of a couple of sources of power, and how we are allocating within a particular segment is a matter which we can respond later on. If you can send an email in this regard, please.
Okay, definitely. And on the power cost, did the NG prices also included in the power cost, or it is gone into raw material?
It's a mix of four things actually. One is a bought out power, which is the list, which ranges between 7 to 15 megawatt out of the total requirement of 55 megawatt around here. The second is the gas based power, which we run between 25 to 33 megawatt. The third is the coal based power, which we run through something called the TG, and that goes up to 15 megawatt to 22 megawatt, depending upon the need. And fourth is a renewable power. We have renewable power of around 31 megawatt installed, and we get a capacity, the power factor of around 21% in that. So around 5 to 6 megawatt a day we are getting from the renewable sources, both wind and solar together.
Okay. That is good answer, sir. And what is the gross margin on the chemical side, sir, this quarter?
It's available in the segment report.
Okay. I think this is EBIT side. Okay, I'll look on that. And
it's not EBIT. If you look at the segment result, okay, there is a turnover for quarter of around 1600 crore, and there is a segment margin also, segment result also. So that will give you the segment In terms of percentage you want, no?
Right.
And the ratio between turnover is around 70-30 between chemical and fertilizer, but more than 95-97% profit is coming from chemical only. So if you take the PBT of 417 crore minus, let's say, other income which is not part of the segment, so let's say 380 crore, around 97% of the profit is that of chemical, which is reflected in the segment result.
Right, sir. So just you sir shared your revenue top line goal of around 10,000 to 12,000 from current level of 6,000. So what is the timeline to achieve this?
It's about 4 to 5 years.
From the 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, see, once any project is conceived, it takes at least 36 months for completion. So right now we are in planning stage, and as the project is conceived, at least 3 years are required.
Okay. Okay, sir. That is all from my side, and wish you all the team happy Diwali.
Thank you. Happy Diwali.
Wishing same to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maurya. Next we have in queue from Manvardhan Baid from Laurel Investment. Please go ahead.
Congratulations on a good set of numbers. My questions have already been answered, ma'am. So thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from Mr. Yugyan Desai as an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. I wanted to know whether you have any plans to make specialty isocyanates, because we have 2 plants for TDI. So can we use the other plant for MDI or HDI or something, specialty isocyanates, which is a good market, good...
We do have plant for isocyanate, but it depends on technology available, or see, most of the isocyanate producers, they are not ready to part the technology because they themselves are producer. But we are actually looking for it, and if you're depending on viability, we do have that plan.
Okay. Thank you very much, and happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you, Mr. Desai. Ladies and gentlemen, for any further questions, request you to press star 1 on your phone now. Participants who wish to ask any more questions, please press star 1 on your phone. Next we have in queue Mr. Anil Thakkar as an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone, and congratulations to team GNFC for such a great number. Okay, the question I have is regarding, like, we have around 2,400 crores of excess cash available in our books of accounts, and what I can see is around 1,600 is the capex that we are foreseeing as of now.
1,600 crore.
Yeah, 1,600 capex which we are planning, and around 2,400 crore cash we have available, and on an average we are making around 1,000 to 1,200 crore cash from operating activities on a yearly basis, right? So any plan for a buyback or special dividend or anything kind of?
Buyback. Yeah, at the moment there is no such proposition on hand. However, the company, the management and the board will definitely take into consideration your suggestion and take the appropriate decision considering the appropriateness of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That answers my question.
Thank you. Yeah.
And the second question was about how is the increase in gas prices affecting our cost?
Increasing gas prices has actually 3 effects on our operation. One is on urea, which is by and large passed through but affects the working capital. Second is it affects in a major way the Dahej operations, and third is it affects our methanol operation. So these are the three operations which are getting affected, out of which two are significantly affected. If we prioritize in order, it is Dahej first, methanol second, and third is urea, which is just a working capital.
Right. So that that answers my question. But just wanted to know, are we able to successfully pass on to the customer or like?
Okay. See, we do a spot buying or contract buying for a month only. Okay.
Right.
So if we are in a position like there are two things in that. If we have a commitment of sale, then we buy accordingly or produce accordingly. Else it goes on to the products like acetic acid via methanol route. And currently we have been in a position to pass on the incremental differential.
Right, sir. That's great, sir. And sir, can you help us with the global demand for TDI and global production for TDI, if it is available with you?
Good afternoon. The total capacity in the world for TDI is 3.3 million.
Right, sir. 3.3 million.
And demand is almost similar. So it is a balanced market actually.
Okay. So that answers all my questions, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thakkar. Next we have in queue Mr. Tejas Shah from Nilesh Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
This time I connected on the con call a little late, so I don't know if I get the repeat question. This time our volumes on chemical business have gone up, but substantially the margins have not gone up in that segment. So can you share some where the pressure is coming on that margin on the chemical business?
Okay. Your question is on a sequential quarter basis, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. We explained this while you were away. Actually, there are two factors. One is in quarter one, we had limited availability and there was some premium pricing of the product, number one. Number two, like in products like acetic, ethyl and aniline, there is some price erosion, realization erosion in quarter two. Third is the higher volume has compensated for this lost margin. The fourth is input costs have increased significantly across the board of key inputs which we use, which is basically a petrochemical input, oil and gas, toluene, benzene. These are the prime inputs which we use. So where there is an impact of more than 100 crore rupees, which has brought down the margin on a sequential quarter basis. So from 1400 crore when we are touching 2000 crore, the margin is on a percentage basis are lower.
Okay.
Although the absolute profit is higher.
Yeah. Now, even going further, are we expected the same thing and maybe the same top line, or the top line will come in pressure?
Going forward has many uncertainties. Okay, so it is very difficult to project something as of now. And normally on such a call, as we normally don't do a forward-looking kind of statements. Okay, somebody asked about the outlook on the input prices. These are very difficult to comprehend actually. These are in nobody's hand. Even our seasoned marketing people, if you ask whether they have a clue on what's going to happen a week next, probably you'll get the answer from there.
Okay. Another thing is, why don't we look at bonus? I think you have enough reserves. Yes, bonus. Because when you are paying dividend, now it is tax is payable at the hands of the shareholders. So depending on the tax slab, while bonus does not attract the taxes, and plus it basically enhances the overall equity shareholder value because the equity number of shares increases. So I don't know why our company is not looking at bonus.
Giving bonus will increase the equity, and it will be difficult to service the equity. So I have seen many companies who are giving bonus every year, and then balance it, their equity base is so large they are not able to service that, and at a point, they go to point of, breaking the, whole balance sheet.
Okay. But maybe small ratio. Small ratio.
If you compare our equity capital, it stands at around 155 crore. Our own brothers like GACL, JSFC, they have half the equity what we have.
Okay. Great.
Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, like he rightly said, the more base you broaden, there is always a question of serviceability. Okay. Other avenues permissible may be more preferred if for a medium term to long term you are not going to do much.
Okay.
I would just like to supplement by just bringing to your notice that the board of directors this year has already recommended a handsome higher rate of dividend, 60% increase. So that also adds to shareholders' wealth. And management would like to ensure that such dividend and servicing part is taken care on sustainable basis. Right? Yeah.
Great. Thank you. That's from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. Next question is from the line of Mr. Divesh Shah from Individual Investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is with respect to the minority shareholder. Sir, this is a strategic question to the management to think over. Sir, I am in this market from last 20 years, and I have not seen the cheapest valuation as our company is. Sir, today our market cap is just about 7,000 crore and with a cash of about 2,400 crore. So net market cap EV is about 5,600 crore, and with the EBITDA of about 1,200 to 1,400 crore per year, I think it is a absolutely cheap value stocks. So what is the management thinking about enhancing the shareholders' value? I think the management required some brainstorming session how to increase the shareholders' value, because today, last from 3 to 4 years, all chemicals and specialty chemical stocks are minimum 3, 4x, 5x. Even a company with 1/5 of our turnover is valued at least 3 times bigger than our valuation. So I think management should think somewhere. I think we are classified as a fertilizer. I do understand that we are classified as a. I think there are two directs to this company. One is the name Gujarat. It is considered as a state government PSU, but we are professionally run company. And with due respect to the management skill which you all have. And second is the word fertilizer. So PSU culture as well as fertilizers are direct to the valuation of this company. But the majority of the profit comes from the specialty chemical. Sir, I have just compared, for your information, the latest quarter of Atul's chemical division versus GNFC's chemical division, only chemical division. Atul quarterly performance was 1,250 crore and profit of 238 crore EBITDA level, whereas we are much above 1,450 crores of only chemical division and a profit of about 350, 370 crores, at least 40-50% higher than. But look at the market cap of Atul, it is 27,000 crore, and whereas we are at 7,000 crore. So, sir, my humble request is, please have some brainstorming session to some lead manager or professionals, say what is lacking in this company. I think we should go for more specialized product. I think the time has come to, instead of commodity chemical, and we have a lot of cash and we have a lot of plan, if we can move away from commodity chemical to specialized chemical. Even look at the Lakshmi Organics, the newly listed company, which is quoting at least 2 to 3 times more market value and turnover is very less. So, sir, my humble suggestion is, what is your thinking about this market perception of this company? I think we need some change somewhere. Thanks, sir.
Okay. Now, the example which you have given is that of private sector. If you take the example of any public sector company or a government company, normally the market valuations, the price earning multiples are not so high as that of the private sector. Okay, this is what has happened across. You can take the example of like ONGC, you can take the example of IOCL, HPCL, any company, including GACL and GSFC. So, market, how to increase the market value is something to do with the market and not with the company internal things as such. Company is operating at a healthy rate. Now, whether it is valued or not, it is not a phenomena confined to GNFC. It is across the board. You take the ONGC valuation. ONGC valuation has improved by 50% over last 6 months. Okay, and that valuation stood there for almost 3 years. And you take any other company also, IOCL. So this is normally what we have observed is government setup as such versus private setup is not comparable. Similar comparison cannot be drawn even with the multinationals. You take the cases of companies like Styrolution or any other BASF multinational listed company. They are really not comparable as such.
But sir, you are very efficient company. You have very excellent management, and you are comparing the state level.
But that is in the hands of market to value. That is not in our hands to value.
I'll just supplement by making a statement that it is the market sentiment which drives the market cap, whereas the companies like GNFC have the real intrinsic strength. They are really growing with strong fundamentals. So market need to understand the fundamentals of a company, and we appreciate your suggestion. We'll definitely look into.
Sir, my humble request is don't consider this as a criticism, sir. Consider it as a positive attitude.
It's a welcome,
sir.
It's a welcome suggestion. Yes.
We are a minority shareholders, and we want to convey our concern to you. You are the best managed company within the public sector company. So I think somewhere down the line you require some little bit of changes. Either your market perception has to be changed from your side so that market will accept the changes. So if you put little effort, if you put 10% effort, market will reward by 40%. So little more effort on your side. Sir, I will compliment it to this quarter. You have given the best presentation by giving the TDI spread and everything. Suppose this way you can improve your perception to the market. So market requires some change, expecting some change from your side so that market can reward you. So
sure.
it is a win-win position for both you as a company and we as a minority shareholder. And please take this, my suggestion, as in a constructive spirit, sir, please.
Certainly your suggestion is well taken, and definitely we'll look into, and whatever best possible, we'll try to make it. Sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. There are no further questions now. Now I would like to hand over the floor to the management for closing remarks. Over to you, sir. Mr. Sirumala, management line is disconnected.
Yeah, just connect them and see.
Yeah, one moment.
Yeah.
Sir, I will now like to hand over the floor to the management for closing remarks. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. On behalf of Gujarat Narmada Valley Fertilizers and Chemicals management side, I would like to extend
our sincere thanks to all the participants for their constructive discussion and very nice, good suggestions. We definitely take note of all these points and try to make all efforts in future time to come to improve our performance further in the interest of all the stakeholders, including the shareholders of our company, to improve their wealth. With this, I once again thank one and all the Batliwala and Karani for making nice arrangements for this conference, and also my team members from the management side for actively and properly guiding the investors for the financials and other marketing and other aspects and production aspects of the company. Thank you once again. Thanks a lot. And wish you all a very, very happy, healthy and safe Diwali and New Year ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes your conference call for today. We thank you for your participation and for using iJunction conference service. You may disconnect your lines now and have a pleasant evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.